What is up, YouTube? That's here today. I'm back playing more Pokemon VGC 2023 Regulation D ranked battles, and today we're starting up a series that everyone really loves on this channel, and that is the Patreon team fixing. If you guys have a team you want me to take a look at, think about checking out the Patreon. Even the lowest tier, the $2 tier, gets access to all the wonderful teams on there. We've been making daily VGC posts on Patreon, so think about checking those out. This very first team is a team you guys have seen me kind of mess with before. It's an electric terrain, manual terrain extender boosted, full like iron Thorns hands team. It's actually really cool. If we take out the official submission post, which is right here on Patreon, you can see this is the first one done by James. They say, I wanted to take a concept I saw before and upgrade it a little bit. This is a Regulation D Paradox / electric terrain team. It uses Bug, Tera, Iron, Thorns as a focal point because it's one of my favorite Paradox Pokemon. It is one of my favorite Paradox Pokemon too. It's one of my favorite Pokemon. I do be loving those T-Tars. And we see the EV spreads and all the Mons right here. I think this team does need a good amount of work. I think this EV spread on this Iron Thorns can definitely be optimized. We can definitely be optimizing the EV spread on this Iron Hands. The Iron Jugulus needs a little bit better items, and I would say potentially even some better EVs. Bundle needs a little bit of work. Electrode could be potentially moved around into something else, and I'm not really seeing what the mouse hold really does here. If we were to take a look at some of like the defensive typings on this team, the mouse hold really just isn't adding that much. Yes, it adds redirection, but you don't need redirection when the bulk of your damage is being dealt by Iron Thorns and Iron Hands. If anything, you'd want a redirector like an Amoonguss in that situation to not give you a third fighting weakness and also be able to potentially restore HP and give you a TR matchup. I don't think we're going to add the Amoonguss, but it's just something to look at. So this is a really cool team, and I would say if you guys have a team you want me to check out and do the same sort of team fixing for, think about checking out the Patreon. Even the lowest tier, the $2 tier, gets access to all this stuff. I'm going to be doing at least one of these every single day, trying to get through as many teams as possible. So without further ado, let's hop into some games. We're going to play some games live on the ranked ladder, just to see how the team plays before we get into the fixing. So wish me luck. Here we go. Alright, here we go. Going into this matchup, Salmon's is a little bit weird, but I will say that like one thing this team really struggles with, our team today, is that it does not have dynamic speed control. That's things like Prankster Tailwinds, Prankster Thunderwaves, Prankster Scary Face, any way to influence the speed tiers of the game using a priority boosted move. This team does not have anything like that. So we're basically at the mercy of whatever our opponent's speed tiers are, and we're lucky that our opponent doesn't have Prankster boosted speed control. Like if that Salamence was a Tornadus, there's probably no way that we would ever be able to win. They would set up a Tailwind, kill one of our Mons, we'd trade with one of them, but then they would have two Mons with speed control, and we would have no Mons with speed control. So that's why I always recommend having a way to have speed control. It's so important in these matchups. But going into this one, what do we need to do here? I don't think that Mouse is very good. I think they have a lot of AoE. They also don't have Intimidate, so we actually can just lead with things like the Iron Thorns. Actually, they do have Intimidate with Salamence. That's such a weird Mon. We can probably just lead with Bundle. I think Bundle's a good enough lead. I don't think that we need Thorns. Sorry, the Hands. They're all the freaking Iron things. I think that these two are okay, but we're really going to have a hard time breaking that Heatran. I think that these are probably the right four for the matchup. Mouse just doesn't bring enough damage, and Iron Jugulus is required to Tera in front of Flutter Mane, and even though we have a boost energy, I'm not sold on the booster energy on the Jugulus, right? If we take a look at the team that was submitted, I think booster energy it's such a waste of an item because we're always going to have the electric terrain up, right? And even if we don't really have enough speed to actually outspeed a booster Flutter on the opponent's side. So there's no real reason to have the booster on that thing. A Covert Cloak would be much better. And if we had the Covert Cloak, we could have like potentially even, let it in this situation, baited that fake out and just KO'd something for it. It would have been really nice. But now we're forced in a situation where we like low-key like have to Tera, and I don't really want to, but we do have to go Ghost Tera and punish them from setting their own speed control. Otherwise, we will probably lose. So let's just go for that like here. And all they have to do is just Terastallize their Sally. They could go Steel, they could go Poison, they could go Fire. Hell, they might not even go for like an attack into the bundle. They might just like fake out the Electrode, which is why we're ghosting here. But realistically, like, I also think you need some form of speed control. I think you need Thunder Wave on Electrode. I think you need things like Icy Wind on Bundle. Those are so important in these matchups. But if we can get this Sally off the board, this is also going to make it so we're like faster. They might have been EV trained with like a Scarf Sally to be able to barely outspeed Bundle, but not outspeed Electrode. So this will put us over that speed tier and be able to go over Scarf Sally. This is an EV spread that I know works a lot for me whenever I use Sally. I just use just enough to outspeed Bundle, but something like Electro would definitely throw that off. So Sally goes down, and now we should be able to not lose them on here. Maybe they're going to be U-turning in the Electrode? Yeah. Absolutely fine. So Electrode holds. And then let's see what they want to bring out. If they want to bring out Far Giraffe, we can taunt it. If they would like to bring back out the Rilla, that's also completely fine. Heatran. Okay. So Heatran's a bit of a weird mixed bag Pokemon to fight with this team, right? We don't have any ground attacks, but like Iron Hands and Thorns are okay against it. We see the booster here. We were talking about that, right? We were talking about boosters at speed or special attack. So they get special attack. But I want you to think, if they got speed, that's all it takes. Our team, like, can't really play the game. And you may be saying, well, yeah, you can. You have your terrain. You still outspeeded by 1 point. First of all, it doesn't help because we can't really one-shot Flutter, whereas they can almost one-shot us or clock our Sash. But also, they can just swap out that Heatran for Rilla, take our terrain, and then mess us up really bad. So, like, you need to have some better speed control options on this team. That being said, I am just going to protect here and see what they want to do. I'd love to bait out a Tera from our opponent. And I guess I'm going to Giga Drain the Flutter. I would highly recommend putting, like, Chloroblast or maybe even something like a Leaf Storm onto this Electro. You don't need Giga Drain because you're not sashed, right? So let's go into this. Protect. We're going to Encore that next turn. I'm really surprised to see no Tera from the Heatran. We could just Hydro Pumped it. Wow. No switch to Rilla either. Very surprising. I wonder what they're waiting for. I'm just going to go for Heat Wave. This is actually really good because now we can just bring in our hands. We can fake out the Heatran. We can go for an Encore under the Flutter. And then next turn we just double into the Heatran and we're in a good spot. This is a good situation for us to be in, I would say. The best situation we've had so far, right? You know. But still, it would have been so much easier if we just had like right speed tiers. But here we go. I would not be surprised to see that Heatran pivot for a Rilla, but that's okay. Yep, we're just going to Encore here. And they can pivot out that soft Rilla, but then they lose their boost. And here we go. Hopefully it's not a Ghost Tera Heatran. Bro, not like this. Not like this. I don't deserve that. I swear, if anyone Ghost Tera Heatrans me, I'm just gonna cry. Now, the key to losing this game is losing our Iron Bundle. Iron Bundle is the thing that pins the Heatran. Iron Bundle is the thing that pins the Rilla. We cannot at all even think about risking losing our bundle. To the point where I almost want to say the right play here. Protect is going to fail there, which means it'll be up next turn. I am going to next turn protect my bundle. And it's leftovers Heatran, so they could still have sub, which is very scary. I'm going to protect with my bundle. Don't even want to risk it. You can totally swap out that Flutter, and that's okay. And then you can protect the Heatran, then I can Encore there. That's a good play for me too. Yep, this is all completely okay. There's no reason to like overextend. I think we have a good enough board state. But we cannot risk the bundle. If there's ever a situation where we're even 2 ahead, where the only win condition is to like double nuke our bundle and hope that we're not protecting that turn, we're gonna have to play into those sort of things. Like not let those things happen, I guess. So let's see. No Tera yet either. That's crazy. Crazy. Sub. We talked about that being an option. We can now Encore that sub if we really do want to. If we would like to Encore the sub, we can. What would be the value of Encoring sub? Because, like, what if we just let them protect to get extra, like, stuff there? What I think you just Encore the sub. And then you swap in this. So this means they're stuck using sub. So they're going to fake out into... Would you fake out versus, though? Like, at the very least, this... I also want to say, there's no way at all that we lose the bundle this turn. There's no way. You could swap, you could do whatever. Because you can't attack with 2 things here. You really can attack, and you can Woodhammer my bundle. I have to eat that. But he can't fake out us, so we're fine. We're always going to be able to Encore the sub. Sub is happening. Heatran is no longer doing 2 attacks at once. Even if they go Dark Terror or something weird, we're still fine. There's no way that we lose bundle here, which is the #1 most important thing. Fire Terra. Okay, we can just Rock Attack that guy next turn. They thought we were going to overcommit. I think this probably means they're protecting Heatran. Okay, Encore. You're just going to use sub, which means eventually you will be a problem. But for the time being, we can hold. Stomping Tantrum. Okay. It's a good amount of damage, but not enough. Hydro Pump probably Okos that thing, right? Am I wrong? let's think about this. If you Stomping Tantrum, how much do I care about that? Like, I can just Encore it. Because Stomping Tantrum doesn't really do enough to win the game. Again, we're just making the plays that don't lose us the game. You can Encore either of these, but you can't Woodhammer anymore. And then you're going to lose your Rilla. And you're going to bring out the Flutter. Flutter's a good mon against our team. But once you crit here... Nice. Heatran's stuck over there. All we need to do is do like a fadeaway back, like Encore back onto that Heatran. We should be able to get the KO here. Even like a 4-hit. 2, 3. And even if they didn't Tera, like we would have just had the Pin Missile to do it. Cool. Down for the count. So the Encore's putting in so much work. I want to let you guys know, though, that like Icy Wind would have won us the game so much longer ago. So we would have been able to Icy Wind the Flutter and then bully them out with things like Iron Thorns. Or even like we would have been able to like bring Jugulis to the matchup. But let's see, we haven't closed it out yet. Flutter's still a little dicey. Flutter's still going to be a little bit dicey to deal with. 2 turns on terrain, last turn of Encore. So we're actually just going to chill with the bundle. Just protect. I don't think they can OHKO. We just have to hit Rock Blast into Flutter Mane. And if they want to protect, then we Encore it. You know? It's the best shot that we got. Moonblast, they make the read. It is a read, but it doesn't get the KO. Special attack drop's never lucky. No big deal. Sub happens. Remember, they are faster here than our Iron Thorns. Just gotta hit the Rock Blast. There we go. 1, 2. Oh, we might have to hit 3, 4, 5. 3, 4. Oh my god, dude. Icy Wind, I need it. I need Icy Wind, dude. I'm so sad. Okay. That's really bad for us. Heatran's probably going to protect, and they're probably going to... Yeah, I think that's fine. That's fine, though, right? I'm going to Encore the Heatran. Cool. Yeah, that's a win for me. You can't KO both of my mons here. Yep, you can take out the bundle, right? But then I take out your Flutter, and then I bring out my hands, and then I just use, like, Wild Charge, Break Sub, Drain Punch, KO. You already used your Tera, we should be fine. But damn, dude, like, you can see how hard it is without speed control. Oh my gosh, you have to, like, play 90 chess out here. You can't initiate anything. You can't initiate leveraging your board state or your speed control or any trades. We have to trade after they initiate on us. It's just... Oh, there's so many things we're going to be able to fix. I'm so excited. If you guys like this little series, you want to see more, let me know in the comments. If you guys have a team you guys want to submit, think about checking out the Patreon. We're going to be changing a lot of the EVs on this team to give ourselves better opportunities to trade correctly. So we just come with the hands here. They're stuck using Encore. So we just go Drain Punch. They already Tera'd. We don't really Cara'd. And we got the win. I mean, they can stay in and use sub if they want, but it's fine. I wouldn't want to be subbing versus the multi-hit T-Tar guy, but... They're just going to stay in, that's fine. We don't want to miss this first one. We want to do as much damage as possible so that they're faster than we are. Wild Charge should break this sub. Don't need to miss a Rock Blast here. And then Iron Hands are just going to come in here. I should just call it Hands. Hands, Thorns, Jugulus, Bundle. No more Iron. Why does everything got to be Iron? They're not even Steel types. DP, baby. Oh my goodness. And then we win. Cool. So yeah, this sort of team, like, if they had a Tornadus, I would say it'd be dang near impossible to win the matchup. And so if you're someone that's been playing with teams like this that don't have any sort of dynamic speed control or second or third ways to have speed control, like Thunder Waves, Icy Winds, Trick Rooms, anything like that, maybe think about adding some. Alright, so this looks like a little bit of potential TR. Like, this looks like mostly TR with a little bit of Urshifu and Heatran. Again, they don't have the dynamic speed control we were talking about, so we don't have to care as much. That means we could, like, low-key lead Jugulus here if we really wanted to, but I don't think that really matters. I think, like, they also don't have Intimidate, so we can actually just get away with leading with Jugulus. Sorry, not Jugulus, sorry. Iron Thorns. Because we can pin Crest with this. We then need something to help pin Ursaluna. So like we could bundle there and Encore. But actually what I would want to do here is lead with like these two. We can then fake out Condition the Crest, which means we can like condition them into protecting with the Ursaluna. And then go for like a KO of their Crest with our Iron Thorns. And just turn one hard swap out the hands for a bundle to then Encore lock the Luna. That's what I really like about this. Do we need any sort of terrain boost from Electrode here? Or do we actually just want the Jugulus? I think I'm going to bring Jugulus here. We're not bringing Electrode. And that doesn't mean that Electrode's bad in this matchup. I think that just means that there are better electric terrain setters, most notably them being Thundurus. I think Thundurus would solve a lot of this team's problems. It would provide that prankster electric terrain so we wouldn't have to surround ourselves with Fake Out to guarantee get it off against other fast, dynamic speed control teams. And then also our own speed control, prankster Thunderwaves, prankster Scary Faces, things like that. Things that can allow us to like see their trick room and not necessarily even have to set our own speed control. We can just like side, we can see this board and like side Scary Face our hands and just blow up their Luna. But that being said, this is a good lead for us. There are like 2 or 3 ways this backfires, right? But we're going to go for the Pin Missile into the Crest. I hope we get the KO. I think they're going to click Trick Room and Protect. And so I'm trying to condition a Protect here and go for a Encore into that Protect next turn. Now you may be thinking, why don't you just fake out the Crest and go for like double into the Crest? Because they can't have like a... Realistically, I think this lead screams like Covert Cloak Crest. And I don't know if Covert Cloak Crest also has the right defensive Tera. We're kind of hoping that they don't have the right defensive Tera. Like, there's 2 types of Cresses, right? Covert Cloak Cresses usually have Dark Tera. And Dark Tera and Psychic Tera both share a bug weakness, right? Because they go Tera to stop the Prankster taunts. Alright, so we're going to see what they do here. This is my Tera first. Now, they could totally just be Fairy Tera Crest. Or even like Electric Tera Crest and then probably live and then we probably lose. And that's all sorts of fine. But this is just me leaning into what the data tells me is my best win percentage. Because, like, why would you even bring the Crest there? There's the Protect. That's what we need to see. No Tera on Crest, which means I think it's that Dark Tera. As long as we hit this, we're probably going to get the KO here. Ally Switch. Really, really weird, but not a problem. Not a problem. Pin Missile fails, but Ally Switch is not the same as it used to be in previous gens. You can't spam it anymore. So this is actually still really good for us. But you just Encore the Ursaluna and hit the Crest the way we wanted it to. Yeah, it's fine. They've tried to go for the cheese. And how about they have some of these? I guess they can try an Ally Switch again. But, like, I don't know about that one, Sheep. Cool. I'm gonna laugh they terrestrialize their Luna and go for, like, EQs this turn. That'd be funny. Yeah, let's see what they want to do. They can still totally terrestrialize their Crest, but at this point, we're not afraid of their Luna because we're going to Encore Lock it. I wonder if we're going to try and go for like a double protect TR. That would be really good for them if they terrestrialize their Crest to make themselves take less damage. I still think that like Fairy Tera Crest is very popular, but, you know, yeah. They got to switch that thing out. What is going to think about eating this? It's a lot of damage, even on like Urshi or Heatran. Hands, still a good amount of damage. And they're going to go terrestrialize? Okay, so they're probably trying to facade the Thorns. This is telling us that they're very afraid of that Pokemon. I don't think they'd go after Bundle with a Facade. But that's just me. I don't think they would have, like, terrestrialized, you know? But anyways, that guy's hot garbage. Pin Missile's going to do a lot. Yeah. It's like 20, almost 20% if we crit. 3. I'd like to hit 5. 4. Nice. It's about 15%. We take those. Cool. Alright, so we don't have a good matchup versus Hands, but now their Ursaluna is just like big sad. It's Encore. Yes, Protect failed that turn, so it will be up this turn, but like that's great. That's just good for us. Now, I will say that like these don't do anything to Hands. You can't really hit the Hands that well with this team. So what we're going to do against Hands in this exact situation is just really try and ignore it, and then hopefully get into a situation where like our Hands can be a bully against it in the later parts of this game. So I'm going to nuke their Ursaluna. I'm just going to Pin Missile it, trying to catch that Crest coming back in, and I'm just going to drop a Protect. If they want to go for a Fake Out, we can Encore it. I think there's also a good chance that they go for like a, not like a Fake Out, but like there's a good chance that they go for like swap out Luna for Crest into like Trick Room, bring it back in. So we're just going to get damage it on Luna. If they're staying in, obviously, that's completely fine. We don't have to care how much damage they do here. Let's see if they fake out or they shouldn't. They should not be fake outing. Let's see. Drain Punch. We could Encore like that if we have to. I wonder how much damage Wild Charge does there. Alright, we're going to do this and have a fake out pin. Wonder if we have enough damage to KO the Ursaluna here. They're really going to stand and try and double protect. That's nuts. Let's see. They could still be swapping. But Crest doesn't want to swap out on that either. They go for the double protect. They're really just like saying, I'm set. Wow. Hopefully they go down, but I don't think so. Yeah. So fake outing into that slot. We'll eventually be able to get it. Drain Punch is fine here. Hand should not be taking this much damage. I think I've said it before, but like this Hand's EV spread definitely leaves something on the table. It does not need to have this much attack. Does not need to have like this much anything, really. It's just a lot of wasted points. It makes me just not really want to use Hands as much. We're going to fake out the Ursa whatever, just to make sure that it is fine. Would it be protecting there? I'm going to double into that slot. Fake out and pin missile into it. I think it's a cool play, because if they swapped it out for Crest or something, I'm trying to think that they could like get up a Trick Room at some point and then like swap back in on the Lunar Blessing. Yeah, this is fine. There's no reason to like fake out the Hands. So this would fake out, kill the Luna, and then redirect my pin missile into this other slot, which is a Flutter. Oh, this is the Crest. Crest is dead. Cool. As long as we hit pin missile, right? As long as we hit pin missile, they're gone. Nice. Maybe they give Citrus, but like, let's see if it's a Rocky Helmet. Yep. Cool. Rocky Helmet's fine. Nice. Now you can bring out that Ursaluna still. You're gonna take out. Oh man, that's full HP defense. 3, 4, crit, crit, crit. Nah, that almost did it though. That's cool. We did the right targeting there too, I think. That was good targeting from us. So you have Hands and a 1 HP Luna in the back. You can totally click ally switch. Yeah, I was gonna say like go nuts with that ally switch, bro. Someone's taking the L. It's a Spexed Flutter, by the way. Yep, absolutely fine. So take a lot of damage there. We should have Bundle should be able to come in and be like an absolute bully here. Rocky Helmet's gonna take us out. Do we even want to bring up Bundle here? I do think Bundle's the right play. We drop a double protect, and then we pin both their mons. But then, like, do we want to do that? This is a good play, too. We don't need to show this mon yet. Yeah, this is right. You just go Bundle. They're going to basically... What they're going to do is... I'm going to go double protect. And then they're going to go fake out Dazzle Gleam. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for, like, damage into the Ursaluna slot. And they're going to go, like, damage into me. And then I'm going to get some free damage with my Thorns. And then they're going to rebring out the Flutter. And then I'm still going to pin it. Like, we basically are saving the fact that we're not revealing our mon early. I think that's good. Pin Missile's just fine damage. There's nothing else to really do in that situation. Freeze Dry will kill the Flutter. And then realistically, we could probably also just, like, Encore. Oh, they fake out there. Oh, then you just lose. That's just a L. That's just a L. Like, I don't know what that was about. Huh. You gotta fake out the Bundle, bro. I mean, I don't know about that one. You gotta fake out the Bundle. But even if you did fake out Bundle and kill Bundle this turn, well, then I just bring out Jugulis, right? And Jugulis still outspeeds Flutter and is a bully enough to be able to win a game. Yeah, because now we can just Encore your Hands, and we outspeed the Ursaluna with our Thorns, and that's game. So even without speed control, we were able to make this work. But you see, like, how much 5D over 9,000 energy chess we have to do using like Encores and pivoting with like potential terrain controls, and it's so much more work without just dynamic speed control. You just throw like a Thundurus on this team and solve almost all of its team's problems. Let's see, I don't know if there's any way they get out of this. Like, the only way would be something like if Ursaluna was faster than Iron Thorns, which it really shouldn't be. Iron Thorns is not a slow Pokemon. It's its base speed, is it? It's like 70 something, right? 72. Speedy Gonzalez out here. So you're stuck in Encore forever. You can fake out till the cows come home. And then we just KO that guy. Didn't even need to miss. And we take those wins. Cool. So now now what we're going to do is work on fixing the team, breaking down all of the EV changes, and go in and like maybe change some items and break down the reasons why. So this is the part that most people like, the part we actually fix the team. This is the fun part, most people would say. And I mean, I guess we eventually just have to win here, but we will win. It'll just take a few turns. And then we'll do that. Wow, they're actually just going to stay in A, dude. Maybe they're hoping that my internet just goes out or something, but it definitely won't. I wouldn't be surprised if they were just salty and they're like going to disconnect at like the very end. The way to punish these players is if they're planning on doing that, you elongate the game by just a little bit. Take like the full timer, you know what I'm saying? Like maybe make some switches, because like there's no possible way that they win. Use multi-hit moves like Pin Missile. All you gotta do is just not lose your Encore turns. The last turn of Encore. Go for a Freeze Dry. Hey dude, they're staying in. Hey, you know what? Power to them. I'm gonna have some coffee. And then we'll get into the team building stuff. Pin Missile's sick. I can probably just win with the Freeze Dry next turn. I do like Iron Thorns. When they first announced all the Paradox Pokemon, I think it was my favorite Paradox. It still might be my favorite Paradox. But yeah, let's get these wins. Pin Missile. You don't even need to re-encore, but it'd be funny to re-encore them. Re-encore them and just like protect with our Iron Thorns to make the game last even longer. It's like, bro, I got all week. But no reason to play with the food. We take those wins, and now we're going to start going into the part of the video where I talked about fixing the stuff that needs to get fixed and making the team the best possible team it can be. All right, so those were some pretty good games. I do want to stress that like dynamic speed control is so important. This team would just take big L's. If they wanted to lead Covert, Tornadus, Urshi, they'd set up a Tailwind, kill one of our Mons, lose one of their Mons, and then again, they have 2 Mons with Tailwind, and now we have no Mons with Tailwind. So even if we have bulky Mons like Iron Thorns or Iron Hands, they're not bulky enough because their EV spreads need a lot of work to actually still maintain a board state or initiate trades or actually have any sort of, you know, proactive play on the board. Our redirection Mon is not good enough. Our team's way too aggressive in that regard. So we're going to need to actually give ourselves some proactive play, some dynamic speed control. And so if we take a look at some of the EVs here, let's think about what each one of these Mons do. I think we can definitely keep the Iron Thorns. I think Iron Thorns is a really, really cool Mon. It's one of the only Mons that can do what it does with a loaded dice. So we definitely keep this one. I think we can keep the Iron Hands, but we need to make some changes to it. I think we can keep the Jugulis, but we need to make some changes to it. I think we can keep Bundle. Maybe some changes. I don't think Hisuian Electrode's the right play. I definitely think that you'd want to use something like a Thundurus here. Thundurus gets Prankster, right? And then it can still hold the Training Center. It's basically the same exact Pokemon as that Electrode with things like Electric Terrain and Taunt if you would like it. But then also it can just go for like Prankster, Thunderwave. If you did want to keep the Electrode, just try and make a very similar set, but with like Thunder Wave for some speed control, so you can actually still hit those mid-speed Mons. So you can Thunder Wave, for example, you can Thunder Wave something like a Flutter Mane who's slower than you. It will immediately activate the speed control and allow your other Mons that have EV spreads to be able to outspeed those things, outspeed those. It's very, very nice. Same thing, it's like a Dragapult. You could Thunder Wave a Dragapult and then thus make it slower than like an Iron Thorns that would have enough speed to be able to take advantage of outspeeding a Dragapult when the Dragapult's at -2. So Thundurus is a very good Mon. I also don't think that you need Mousehole because this team's biggest issue is we go with our terrain setter guy or our speed control guy, and then one of our other Mons, like our fake out user or our Thorns or even our bundle. And if they take out like the bundle, I feel like the team just falls apart. We can't hit grass types anymore. We can't hit ground types anymore. We can't hit a lot of actual types anymore. So I think this mouse hold would be much better off. I know this is going to sound really lame as a Flutter Mane. And the reason why I would put a Flutter Mane here is just because the team looks very different with a Flutter Mane on it as opposed to a Flutter Mane not on it. You can also think about putting an Abomasnow here, I will say, but before we get into this big team fixing. I just typed in Iron Thorns because I've made a few Iron Thorn teams over the past few formats. This is a team that I made recently that has like Thundurus with a Terrain Extender, very similar sets here. Iron Bundle, same idea. You know, we have the Iron Thorns. This was a Raichu variant that still used Jugulis as well. We have a couple other variants that. You guys can always pause and go take a look at these if you want. But like there are variants that use like rain as well. This was a team that's a little bit older, but like you make a rain core around it with like Pelipper. You can do the same thing with a Bomb of Snow. And generally just give yourself like a snow core with bundle as well to make bundle the the main mon. But I do think that like you need a little bit more punch. And we're going to talk a little bit about how Fluttermane can be that Pokemon as we sort of flesh out the team. So going back to this Iron Thorns, we needed to be able to outspeed things at +1 or -1 situations. So those are things like Icy Winds and other things like that. We realistically would need ourselves to have, let's see, how much speed would we realistically need? I think you need 107 because that would allow us to outspeed Dragapult in any of those +2 or -2 situations. And if you outspeed Dragapult, by proxy, you would then outspeed Iron Bundle if they didn't have a booster, or Flood if they didn't have a booster. So 116 is what I would say you need this guy to be. 252 attack is still completely fine, but also this 107 speed here is going to let you outspeed things like, regular speed Rillas, like regular just everyday Pokemon. So you're going to start outspeeding like bulkier Goldangos and other stuff like that. And I would say you realistically want to be just a little bit faster than this, because if we take a look at some of the speed tiers, this lets you outspeed in a Tailwind Dragapult, but you also want to take a look at where you outspeed at +1, right? So let's plug in the Iron Thorns. And we're going to do a damage calculator here. And so if we got the 116 here, you can see this gets to 107. But if we were to give ourselves a +1, this would be like from a an Icy Wind would basically give a -1 to your opponent's Pokemon, which is basically giving ourselves a +1. This gets to 160, right? Which is good, but that's outspeeding like base 95s. I think 95s would look something like this. Like, so like it might be like a 96 or something like that. Set them always to 50. My Digimon's evolving. I'm evolving into something. Anyways, these level 50 Pokemon, these base 100 speeds, this lets us outspeed 94s, which isn't that good. So we'd want to outspeed base 95s, right? What are some popular base 95s? Things like Arcanine is a very popular base 95. Let's talk about like outspeeding a base 96 mon. What's a popular base 96 mon? Mimikyu. You want to outspeed that for sure. What's a popular base 97 speed mon? That's going to be something like Urshifu. I think Urshifu's 96. Long story short, you want to take a look at what you can outspeed. Sort this by speed so you can actually see. Where's the speed tiers of these mons? And sort it by, there we go. So we don't want to go all the way down and see what we actually need to outspeed. So Urshifu's 97, you might as well outspeed 98, Hydreigon while you're there. Might as well outspeed all these base 100s. This is what I think you would need to outspeed because there's so many base 100 mons. And then like, case in point, you want to look at any of these that you have bad matchups against and outspeed those as well. So outspeeding Garchomp is what I would say would be pretty important. Not that Garchomp's like really, really good, but you might as well just do the couple extra points to outspeed Garchomp at a +1 if you can. So Garchomp's 169. It means you want to get to 170 on this Iron Thorns. You're actually going to double dip and go to 171, which is really, really good. So 172. It's a lot of investment. It's a lot. But now you're going to be able to hit them before they can hit you, and you still hit just as hard. And you're just going to be able to trade a lot easier. You actually didn't need as much bulk as you had on that thing. I'm sure you saw. You either got one-shotted or you ate it at half. And so there's no real difference between eating it at half and eating it at like 10-15%. You're going to eat it both ways. And if anything, when you ate it at half, you ate it at like a little bit less than half because you weren't just like full bulk because you still had a lot of attack investment. So I think a set like this is going to be just a little bit more optimal for those situations. And it's going to speed creep things that are going to that 112 speed tier just a little bit more. So you're able to still bully Rillabooms. You're able to still bully things like Charizards, Zapdoses, Volcaronas after they get up a -1 from your team, which we're going to be talking about that in a little bit. All right, so going on to Iron Hands, there's something I really want to talk about. I think you're wasting a lot of points in attack and HP. I think that it's such a bloated number on both of these stats that you can really still maintain the same like OKOs by taking a lot of points out of attack and just keeping the Adamant Nature. You're going to retain the same amount of 2-hit KOs or 3-hit KOs you would already have, but it's way overkill, and you're wasting a lot of points in attack to just like have that much on there. Let's take a look at some common matchups for this guy. So like Wild Charge versus an Urshi Water. Set this thing to level 50. You can see that like your attack, like your stats still definitely OKOs it with a Wild Charge, which is I'm sure what you want, but like realistically, like Electric Terrain, like you're doing way too much. You can probably drop this all the way down to probably like 76 or maybe even like lower than that. I would say 60. Like let's take a look at like Fluttermane. 60 is what I usually run on my hands, just because it maintains a lot of the single OCOs that you would need. So like Wild Charge with the Electric Terrain boots is still an OCO there, right? Even if you don't have the Electric Terrain, like Heavy Slime will still get it, but I think we should cut the Heavy Slime for something else. But Wild Charge is still probably an OCO, and if you already just like Wild Charge, if you Electric Terrain, it's just going to still be a lot of damage. Let's check out Landorus. I think Landorus is another Mon that is definitely worth respecting on this team, because it's so hard for... It makes Iron Bundle have to do a lot of the heavy lifting, and then it's really hard for Iron Thorns to get in to fight Landorus. So let's go Landorus. Always make sure your sets are like blank sets that you set to 50 and make the way you want. If we were to take and have Ice Punch here, you can see it does a lot to the Landorus, but realistically, if Landorus comes in and intimidates us, we still actually can OCO Landorus with this exact spread here if we trade the Electric Terrain with it, if it's just a sweeper Landorus. So again, we don't know what kind of Landorus they have, but that's a lot of damage. It would basically be forcing the Lando to terrestrialize or pivot or do something else. So I think realistically, you can get away with like just keeping... Your Adamant Nature is going to do most of your heavy lifting because it's a 10% boost to this huge number. You can drop your HP down a lot too. What I actually like to do here a lot of the time is go 252. I also... don't think that you should be speed reduced nature. That's just my personal opinion. I think if anything, you should put at least 12 points here to actually outspeed other Iron Hands so you can fake out other Iron Handses. And then realistically, you can just do something like this. It's the same type of set that I've ran before in multiple different situations. You make this into... you make this into Ice Punch, and I think we should still keep Wild Charge because we ran a bunch of calcs for it, but realistically, this Pokemon is about not dying, not just like one-shotting stuff, because we don't even still have the speed control to really enable this guy to function at like full potential, but now you're going to be able to like Icy Wind and actually outspeed things like Rillas and stuff with this guy, which would be really nice to be able to check those with Ice Punch, so this is probably a much better set. As for Jugulis, I think this is a good set, but I do not think that you need Booster Energy at all. I think Booster Energy is a big throw on this Pokemon because we're always going to want to pair it with like Thundurus or anything that can set Electric Terrain, right? So it basically says we can't do that if we have a Booster Energy. So I think a Covert Cloak is a really good item here because this says we can just lead into like Iron Hands and other fake out users like Rillabooms and just go for Tailwind, enable our Iron Thorns or our teammates and just win the game, right? This is really, really good in those late game situations too where people are trying to pin you out. So I like this set a lot. It also makes it so if you wanted to cut the Protect for something, you could because you don't need it because you have the Covert Cloak. So if you wanted to put something like Dragon Tail for coverage versus like Trick Room teams, being able to like Dragon Tail Cresselias and stuff like that, that's an option. You could put the Flash Cannon on here. There's a bunch of different things you can do. It also gets Taunt. It's one of the only mons that really gets Taunt and Tailwind. You don't really see that often on non-genies. So it's a pretty cool set. And then I think realistically, we're talking about outspeeding base 102s getting to 170. I want to think like, what do we want to outspeed here? Right? Going all the way down here. It'd be nice to outspeed Garchomp, right? It'd be nice to outspeed Garchomp, who is still slower than this, guys. Let's see. It'd be nice to outspeed Garchomp. Iron Leaves isn't in the format yet. Delphox, we don't care. Zoroark, we don't care. We don't care about a lot of these things. It'd be nice to outspeed a Spathra, I guess. It'd be really nice to outspeed a Lilligant, right? So Lilligant is a 105. Let's just take a look at what that would be, because we can Air Slash it, right? So 105, if we traded with it, and then just like traded Tailwinds with it, we'd be able to outspeed and punish it next turn with an Air Slash. So we need to get to 173 with this guy, which is basically just a little bit of overkill right there. There we go. And then we can go with like a 4-4 and like a 12. And just we're making ourselves just a little bit more bulkier, but we don't need to have the full speed set that we did before. And we also, with case in point, by proxy, outspeed all the other base like 105s and stuff like that, like Palma and stuff like that, that are really nice to Air Slash. So cool stuff. I think for Bundle, this is a big one. I do not think that you need Encore. I think Encore's a really good tech move, right? But Icy Wind's going to be way better on a set like this. Now, you could say you could cut Freeze Dry for Icy Wind, but I think you're going to have a lot of the same win conditions you had with Encore available. Instead of like having to Encore lock something and ignore it, you can just Icy Wind it, chip damage on your opponent's teammate mon, lower that speed, have like your Iron Thorns or your Jugulus or your Flutter Mane just kill their teammate, and then yeah, they got to attack with their other guy, but then that's a trade, right? You're either going to lose one of your mons or your bundle. And even because they're Sash, you're not going to lose the bundle. And then next turn, you can just do whatever you want, right? We're initiating trades by having Icy Wind. And giving ourselves access to like multi-hit moves are actually still really, really nice. So I would say that. And then you can just keep the rest of the set the rest of the way it is. It's fine. Electric Train's good. Taunt's good. I like Scary Face over Thunderwave because we can then side Scary Face these two guys in Trick Room matchups. So if you see like Crest Luna and we don't want to go for Taunts, we can just side Scary Face. That's absolutely fine. And then I would just throw Wild Bolt here. Wild Bolt's fine. there's nothing really wrong with the set. You don't even need taunt if you don't want it. If you want protect, that's fine. If you want something else, that's fine. If you want to use electrode, that's still fine. But you would have to have like a Thunder Wave or something on the electrode, in my opinion. I think as far as like the way Thundurus needs to be played, you already have enough speed to be able to do whatever you want. You only really need Modest Nature to be able to actually do a threat. Remember, you're getting a 10% boost to your whatever stat you put your nature in. So putting a 10% boost to 125 is way higher than a 10% boost to 70. It's almost double the investment. So it's really, really nice. So I would do something like this. And then I would look at some calcs. Like, let's go to Thundurus here. Remember, Thundurus doesn't get the boost from the electric terrain that, you know, a grounded Pokemon would. So all of its calcs are going to be very different. Let's plug in Urshifu. So plug in like Urshi Water just to see how much damage we do with Wild Bolt versus this guy, and maybe make ourselves have enough. So we have, let's see. So Wild Bolt Storm down here. Wild Bolt Storm, huh? So we're already Oko and single target. And then we make ourselves Modest here. And look, we only need a little bit to KO like a Sweeper Urshi. Cool, 44 points, it's absolutely fine. So 44 points plus nature. And then what I would do is probably something like 4. And then realistically, you'd probably want to do enough to make sure you're not like dying to things like a Moonblast from Fluttermane. So let's plug that one in. So plug in like Specs, Fluttermane. And see that Moonblast there, Fairy Tera Double Dip. Can we even live that? How much boost would we even need? So that will let us not die. 252.68. We have the points. How many points would it actually take to just straight up not die, though? Like, is that even possible? 228. 228 would be what we need to just not die. It's not possible, but we can move some points around. So we can go something like 252 there, and then take the points out of here to not die. 212. All right. We can actually exactly get that. If we go 212 right here, and we go 252 here, we will not die to a Moonblast from a Fairy Tera Fluttermane ever. That's funny. I want to see if we can... Now it's dead. Yeah, that's exactly it, right? So that's the one set that doesn't die to that. So, hey, you know what? That's fine with me. Like, that's totally fine with me. So, yeah, we have enough damage to always KO Urshifu if there's, like, a standard sweeper set, Urshi Water with a Wild Bolt, Storm Immune, and spread damage. And we don't die to Fluttermane in one hit. Cool. Works for me. As for Fluttermane, this is where... Remember, we took the booster off that Jugulis. I think we would best put that booster right back here. So this way we still have more speed control. It's really, really nice. And we're going to use this with probably... Protect. We're going to use this with Icy Wind, so we don't always need Bundle to do everything for us. We're going to put Shadow Ball here, and probably, I like D-Gleam here. And then I'm a weirdo in this situation, and that I like to keep my Ghost on this, so we can just go into other flutters and be like, Ghost, double dip that Tera, pop. It actually is really good. You'd be surprised. And then I usually just go like this. Just full standard sweeper set. Ain't no thing. Do what you want to do. This hits way harder than you think. And it's there to make them respect your potential speed tiers, right? So they're going to be bringing things that are good against Fluttermane, right? And we're going to be punishing those things. So that's the idea behind this. This also does a lot of damage for like Goldangos. They're like, this is fine in those late game situations. Like, I can eat a Shadow Ball. I'm EV trying to do it. And then you double Tera, Ghost Tera, dip it, and you just one-shot them. So it's pretty good. So that is this new version of this team. I'm going to go play a game with it on Showdown, and we're going to see if all the changes that we made actually come into play and give us some wins that we wouldn't normally have had before. So let's go play some games. All right, that's a little bit weird. There's like Dozo, Tatsu, Flutter. This is going to be hard. Dozo Tatsu is going to be probably hard to beat. The Murkrow is the dynamic speed control. So I think realistically, by going like Thundurus, we should be able to be a bully against it. I think Bundle is very good versus Dozo if we force them to Tera. So I'm going to bring this in the back. I think that like Iron Hands Thundy is good because we can fake out anything. We can just go like fake out Wild Bolt into the Murkrow, and that's fine. I'm going to bring the Bundle, like I said, in the back, and I'm going to bring the Thorns in the back. So I think Thorns is really good if we force them to go Grass Tera, right? So they're just leading Dozo Tatsu, easy peasy. So against Dozo Tatsu, it's always really free. You can just basically go... Do we even want a Wild Bolt, or do we just want a Scary Face and make it slower than our Thorns after 2 turns? It's probably a better play. Yep. Just free damage. There's no reason to like try and like absolutely end them here. So now they're back to being slow here. We probably still outspeed with this guy, realistically. We might not, but we probably do. We can just go for the electric terrain here. And then what mon are they going to be hitting? Do we even care is the question. We could Terastallize here, but I think they're going to go electric. I think they're going to go Grass Tera at some point. Looks like they're not. Fine with me. Big damage. No whammies. Oh my gosh, that's still so much damage. Cool. You can take out one. Order Up is way too slow. That's way too slow. They get an attack boost there. And now they also don't have lefties. So, like, we don't really care what happens to you. You can go Electro Terror if you want. Like, you're donezo, bro. Done-dozo. Hey, man, they probably had Steel Terra. And Hands is just a really good weakness dozo in that situation. Now, right now, we can't get put to sleep here. So we're just going to pivot in the Thorns and go for probably just another Wild Charge into the Tatsu. Absolutely easy peasy. So you're seeing like the slight changes that we're making here. Thundurus is much better than something like Electro wouldn't have had a good time there. Like, Electro would have been absolutely one-shotted by that Order Up. And Thundurus is way bulkier, and it has a lot more board control. We could taunt the Amoonguss. They just dipped. They just absolutely just dipped. They don't even want to play this one out. So we're just going to go to another game. All right, this is pretty standard. I will say that when you see multiple Intimidators like this, you probably don't want to lead with your aggressive bond. So this is where something like Thundy and Bundle are good. This is where something like Jugulus can also be very, very good, because this is going to be like a good matchup into like Mouseape and the Weirdeer, who has like normal Psych. You can go for big Dark Pulses into that. So something like Jugulus Thundy is good. I think you definitely get with Fluttermane here versus those guys as well. And then if we bring a Mon that like pins a lot of these things, something like, I'm thinking maybe Thorns, maybe Hands. I'm gonna bring the Thorns here. I think we can have a really good matchup here. So Annihilate Mouseape, cool, works for me. So we need to think like, what do we want to get out of this board state? I can just go for a standard Dark Pulse. Slash, like, I could Scary Face the mouse to make them not be able to beat up correctly, but I can also just try and kill the mouse. It's fine with me. Like, let's see what happens. Bulk up? Oh my gosh, are they going for the beat up bulk up? Oh my gosh, they actually went for that. This guy's gonna be hard to beat. It's probably gonna Trastalize next turn. And did we double miss? Okay, we hit one. Nice, nice. And they outspeed us, which is very weird. I'm gonna protect here and just do another one. You can hit the Thundy. That's absolutely fine. Mouseape is still really good, but then I don't think this guy has the right speed control to be able to do anything about it. And if you do want to bring out like a Amoonguss after this, I'm trying to see if I can force a Terra this turn. Let's see if, like, and I want to see if we force the Terra on the Annihilate or on the Amoonguss. We'll see. So protect there. Follow me, nice, nice. Close combat blocked, boys. Wild Bolt Storm, any Paras? Yes, please. Really playing into that right now. Now we don't really care what happens. Amoonguss maybe? I'll just taunt it. There's the taunt, you know? In this situation, I'm going to pivot in my Flutter to block a close combat there and just taunt the Amoonguss. Yep. Player on the Rage Powder. Close combat blocked. And now we just Dazzle. And Wild Bolt. Ghost is completely fine. Ghost with the most out there. Neutral damage here. Rage Fist is fine. We have another Wild Bolt here. Pollen Puff side. Good play. They're still taunted though. So like, I think that this is still fine. And then we just go Dark Pulse there. And I guess we don't have to, like, I'm going to Electric Terrain here so we can enable the last of our Mons. And Dark Pulse there should get the KO. Yep. And then there's the Arcanine. But we have the special attack boost here, which is, I actually really like the special attack boost on this thing. People always think you should get a speed boost, but I'm a big fan of it. And at this point, you're still taunted. We still should outspeed the Arcanine. Just get the KO on everything. It's a lot of damage. It's great for things like Crust. It is justified. I was going to say it's probably a justified Arcanine on this team. We didn't see the Intimidate. And they're going to get KO'd. Yep. And they actually Pollen Puff to one of my Mons. And we take those wins. There's nothing else that they can really do in this situation. Come with the Iron Thorns. Go for the big damage. And we take those wins. So hopefully you guys like the changes that we made to this team. I think the Thundurus makes the team a lot easier to play. Like a lot easier to play. I think Fluttermane fills in a role that normally Bundle was utilizing, but when you lost the bundle, you basically lost the game. So now we can like weave in Fluttermane and kind of still do the same, a bit of AoE damage at that faster speed tier. Jugulus, we optimized just a little bit, and I think we made the Iron Thorns and Iron Hands just a little bit better at capitalizing on what the Iron Bundle, Jugulus, Thundurus, and Fluttermane bring to the table. So again, if you guys have teams you want to submit, think about checking out the Patreon. Even the lowest tier gets access to everything. There's 600 and how many posts are on here? How many posts are even on my Patreon? I think like we probably have like 700 or 800 different teams up here on Patreon. I will say that, like, you know, some of the rental codes were expired. Obviously, I can only have rental codes up for like a week or two. But all of the pastes are there. You can go and check back, you know, teams from Sword and Shield, Ultra Sun and Moon. Some Oros teams are up there. Like, there's old teams, there's old games, there's BDSP, there's singles, there's VGC. There's a bunch of cool stuff. And there's also a bunch of other teams that other people have submitted that if you want to try some of their rental codes, that's all up on Patreon as well. So think about checking out the Patreon. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this little video. And other than that, peace out. I'll see you guys next time.